Hey, welcome everybody. It's Brad and Terry Friedline, and we want to welcome you to our second episode of
What now?
What Now is an opportunity for Terry and I to sit and kind of dialogue back and forth about the message from this last Sunday.
Well, we know in the whole craziness of life and how crazy, sincerely crazy life has been in many, many ways. But we have to come back to what the main thing is, keeping the main thing,
Yep.
which is making disciples.
Yep.
And in my notes, I wrote down what you said about because all authority has been given to Jesus, we are all called to make disciples.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you talked about the Great Commission and how the disciples were sent out, and we are sent out to make disciples.
Yep.
And the thought that came to my mind is I wondered how many people hearing that say, what does that look like to be sent? And what does it look like when the opportunity arises to say what we need to say? What do we say and all that?
Yeah, that's great because I think I think the vast majority of people are asking those kind of questions, and that really is the role of the church to equip people on what does it mean and how does it look to be sent and to make disciples and what to say and how to say it and all that kind of stuff. And so for us at Crossroads Church, I'm really excited because Stacy Peterson, our outreach influence leader, and John Meter, our pastor of Equip Ministries, they're going to be joining together and provide some training on all of that, what to talk about and how to talk and how to be sent and all those kind of things. But one of the things we really focused on this last Sunday when it comes to making disciples is that we have a ready-made disciple-making environment, and that is our family.
Well, I have to confess that a lot of stuff kind of rose up.
Good stuff?
There was good stuff, and then there was the not so good.
Right.
The stuff that I didn't do, the guilt, the woulda, shoulda, couldas. And I know full well that the enemy on those occasions tries to say, oh, and here's where you dropped the ball here. And if only you would have done this, and oopsie.
Yeah. So when those kind of emotions come up, how do you deal with that? How do you sort through those emotions of not doing enough raising our kids?
I cry.
There you go.
Yeah, I do. I cry. And then when I get in my right mind, and I don't allow, I have to be very intentional to not allow the enemy to torture me with those kind of things. And just, I have to be able to say, okay, Lord, I dropped the ball. I wish I would have done this, wish I would have done that. However, you can take those broken pieces and make a beautiful mosaic with them.
So what happens when you're in your left mind?
Like the bad one?
Yeah, you're not in your right mind.
So when my makeup is all over my face from the grind.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Bad stuff. And I'm usually in a pile on the floor. And honestly, my biggest, most important prayer, and the women who were at our women's retreat a couple years ago heard this, but that's when my most raw, gut level prayer of help is my most profound prayer. Because those are the times when I know that this whole faith thing, that this whole God thing is so real. Because it's at those times when I feel like at my wit's ends and feel just like hopeless. And a peace that passes understanding floods over me. And I go, God is so near. And he's with me.
So what would be, one thing that you would want a young mom to know that's in the throes of diapers and baby food and all that kind of stuff?
Oh my gosh. That is a great question. And I know for sure one of the things I would say, because that toddler time is a crazy busy time. You can't even go to the bathroom without mommy, mom.
Right.
I mean, you just can't. You know what I'm talking about if you have little ones. But what I would say is I remember going to moms groups, and they were awesome. They were wonderful. They were a great time away from my kids, for me, our kids, by the way. But anyway, so yeah. But one of the things I remember at one of the meetings somewhere along the line, they said, you know, right now this is a crazy busy time. Don't feel the pressure to have, you know, quiet times. That, you know, that time will come, and you can just kind of take the pass card. And I took it to heart, and I kind of went, whew, you know, I don't have to be responsible for that.
Yeah.
I would say to moms of littles now, do not let that time get away from you. Carve out the time. It will look different for you than it'll look like later. But I would have, knowing what I know now, I would have made time, carved out time for that quiet time. And if the kids got up at that time, I'd have books for them that would be appropriate for them. And have a quiet time so that they would see it was important, an important time, and an important habit to set. That would be huge.
Yeah, and I think, you know, because I know you're going to ask me what I would say to Dad, so I thought I would just step right into that.
That's what I meant to do.
But I think I would, if I was talking to some young dads, there would be two things that I would share with them. One is that same thing. Make sure you're taking time to create space for you to be with God, because that's the most important thing for you as a husband and father. And so do that. The second thing would be for you to help your wife create space so that she can have alone time with God, even to the point of gathering up the kids and taking them out of the house, or gathering up the kids and sending your wife out of the house, that you come in, serve your wife, love your wife well, and help her to have that space where she can be alone with God.
Yep. And we've heard it said that in order to really be help disciple your kids, you have to be a disciple yourself.
Yep.
And for married couples, do everything you can to keep this relationship right.
Yep.
Because as we know, man, kids pick up on that.
Yeah.
I mean, when we went through our really, really hard stretch, whew, kids felt it.
Yep.
And yeah, not pretty.
Yeah, and the other thing, we know that there's some out there that are maybe watching this that are single parents, and we just want to acknowledge that that's hard. That doing it alone is really difficult, but we still want to encourage you to do everything you can to set time aside for you to create space for your relationship with God. And as Terry mentioned earlier, creating that space even with your kids. And then the other thing I would challenge is those of you out there who are moms and dads, and you maybe have some space and some time, or your grandparents. If you know a single parent, help that single parent out by grabbing their kids and giving them time to get away, to be alone, away from their kids, so that they can create that space.
And those of you who are grandparents, oh my gosh, what a huge role you play in your grandkids' lives.
Yep.
And just loving them with the love of Jesus. And as they're little, being able to, as they're little, as they're older, praying with them, asking them what you can be praying for them for. Yep. The biggest thing, though, especially as they get older, don't preach. Don't preach to them or at them, but love them and let them see your love for Jesus, because that will speak volumes.
Yeah, and over time at Crossroads Church, Faith at Home is going to be a resource place for you to get tools and training and equipping just to help you in this journey of making disciples who make disciples, and doing that in this ready-made environment of your home. So that's opening up this Sunday, January 31st. And so we're really excited about it, and more to come.
I am super excited about that. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. So, hey, thank you so much for joining us and being here with us on this week's episode of
What Now?